Hello, this is Reflections, and I'm MJ Brown. Today, we'll be having reflections from Pistachios in the Park. Um, we'll be looking at a few articles, an article from my book called Thoughts to Make You Wonder. The book is sponsored by Pistachios hairdressers. They can be found at Shop 2, 288 Stamford Hill, London N16 6TR. Their contact number is 020 8802 1629, and that's at the front of the book. I think you can see it there. Pistachios hairdressers. So they're the main sponsors. So today we're going to be looking at the first article in the book, which is titled "The Wealth Within Your Mind." And this is something I kind of like talking about, because the greatest wealth that we possibly have is not in the outside world, not in the external world of trees and houses, but that wealth could actually be nearer than we think, actually in your mind, actually in your imagination. And one of the things I comment on is this whole idea. I'm going to read you the first section, which is titled "Your True Wealth." I think you can see it there. Your true wealth. For many people, the search or pursuit of wealth would tend to be an external activity, but the greatest wealth that you may possibly be found not in your external world, but much nearer to home. The wealth that actually you desire may actually be found deep within the reserves of your own mind. Some of the greatest gifts can be, in fact, within your mind. The power of imagination could, in fact, hold the greatest wealth that you've always been looking for. So how can you tap into this unlimited source of wealth? So the idea of wealth, many people tend to look at external things, but in fact it could be your own mind, the capacity to understand your mind, the capacity to tap into your imagination. Every person who has gone on to succeed in life, it started from a thought wrapped in imagination. So your imagination could in fact be one of the greatest things that you possess. Imagination is what allows people to fly around the world. Imagination allows people to create inventions and if you look at over the past hundreds of years, many of the greatest things that we use on a regular basis came because of imagination. If you look at Michael Faraday, he imagined his imagination of discovering a source of power, which electricity, and because of electricity we now can flick a switch, have light. And if we look at Thomas Edison, who created the light bulb, so all these things came from imagination, the source of imagination from someone's mind. And the fact is that you have great, phenomenal imagination within your mind, and it's about releasing that capacity to imagine. And that's why the idea of daydreaming should be frowned on. It should be looked at as something that is really powerful and useful. You know, imagination, daydreaming. So it's very useful. The next part I touch on is the wealth within the wealth that is your imagination. It starts for a countless number of years. Great wealth that has been found in imagination has been by the few who have learnt the skills of tapping into the source of that creativity within their mind. And the fact is that the difference between a genius and someone else is the fact that they spend time meditating and seeking through their imagination solutions to various questions. That whole idea is linked to the idea of problems. At one time, if you look at London in the 1800s, the street lighting was used gas, and that probably had a lot of benefits but many problems, because to light up the streets someone had to physically go around and light every single gas lamp in the street. So someone applied imagination to try and solve that problem to make things a lot more effective. And Thomas Edison, he looked at the whole idea of how you can use electricity, which was discovered by Michael Faraday, to actually bring about a light. And it was by applying certain principles that Thomas Edison was able to create the light bulb. He tried, it was said, around 10,000 times, and he failed 10,000 times to create this light bulb. But one of the key principles that actually helped him was the idea of persistence, the idea of testing, continuing to test and to evaluate what's right and what's going wrong. And because he continued to persist, eventually he found success. But he'd actually been applying certain success principles. We won't touch on all of them today, but we're just going to be touching on the idea of wealth is in your mind. So your true wealth could actually be your imagination. The next thing I touch on here is the power of a plan. Now, indeed, if you look at most things in life that tend to succeed or become a success, it starts from someone making a plan. And that's important. It's important to always acknowledge that you need to make a plan in order to achieve what you want. One of the things that it says in Napoleon Hill, Law of Success, is the idea of knowing what you want that could take the form of a burning, passionate desire, and then following up by other steps, and also by making an organized plan. And once you've made that plan, you go about trying to achieve it. You take action. You've got to take action. And sometimes the plan that you make, it may not work. But the important thing to do is to keep on trying. And if the plan doesn't work, modify that plan. Sometimes it may be important to completely get rid of that plan and to rewrite that plan and try that again. But the key is to keep trying, keep taking action, keep working to your plan and keep modifying your plan until eventually you will find success. Because the thing is, every time you fail at achieving a plan, it's important to say, what did I do wrong? What can I learn from this? And how can I use this to modify and improve my plan? And that's important. So always working to improve your plan until you actually get a breakthrough. So there is great power in a plan. The other thing I want to talk about is the power of determination. Let me read you what I've written here. Sometimes your plan may not work out as you would desire, but it is important to carefully evaluate the things that went wrong and modify or create new plans. The important thing is to be determined to succeed. Just because the plan does not work the first few times does not mean you should refrain from continuing, but continue to learn from each failure and use each failure as a valuable lesson. Each lesson can draw you nearer to achieving your goal. The things that are worth having may take time and effort, but keep focused on the reason why you want to achieve the desire. This can help you when you feel like not continuing. So basically, in concluding, some of the greatest sources of wealth may in fact be nearer than you think. The true source of wealth may be your capacity to take action, and your imagination, the imagination that you have. Also, by writing down clear goals and taking action could allow you to achieve your dream. But always use failed attempts as tools to allow you to learn important lessons. So we've been reading from Thoughts to Make You Think. It's my second book, and it deals with success principles, ideas to think about and things to consider. So thank you for listening. I'm MJ Brown and you've been listening to Reflections.